walking, do you? I feel walking is like a communion with oneself. I don't like gyms and trainers, and even when I'm walking, I don't want people nattering next to me. I just want to be with myself, my thoughts, and my body. To me, when you walk, your mind attunes itself to that perfect tuning instrument, your body, that God has given you to carry you through life. And there is some sense of a spiritual communion with the world around you and with you yourself as part of that world, which brings you peace, a sense of meditative spirit, and a sense of exuberance and positivity, which flows through you all through the day, and every time you walk, it charges you once again. So today I'm going to introduce you to a walking adventure of a lifetime. It is the adventure of walking through the Himalayas. My goodness, what a journey. Let me recommend to you a very interesting film, Walking Through the Himalayas, in which Levison Wood walks across 5 countries: Afghanistan, Pakistan, India, Nepal, and Bhutan. 6 months, 1700 miles, 4 million steps to achieve this incredible feat alone. And that's the beauty of it, of walking across the Himalayas. What did he achieve, and what do we achieve by watching a film like this? I think reinforces our belief in ourselves and our spirit, and it reinforces the fact that fitness and endurance is the essence of any kind of survival in this life, particularly in the world that we live in today. Levison Wood is actually a British Army major. He has been fit all his life. He walked right across the Nile. He has walked in the deserts of Africa. And here he finds the spectacular beauty of the Himalayas. He emerges towards Nepal, where he sees the legendary Everest. And then he goes on to Bhutan, where actually the Himalayas fall away and end. It is the end of his journey. I can't recommend this film to you as one of the most beautiful films I've ever seen, because there are touristy elements in it. He gets his ears cleaned, or shave and tel malish in Haridwar. Or he gets his fortune read in Nepal, goes on an expedition with the honey hunters. He actually crosses a crocodile-infested river, and crocs are eyeing him as a meal as well for themselves. Very interesting to see, but it's been done. But overall, the magnificent, inspiring vision of the Himalayas, our Himalayas, is something that is unforgettable. The hospitality of the people is unforgettable, and that's another beautiful thing as you discover that people bond. In Afghanistan, he is treated to a feast by the nomadic shepherds, and the best part of the feast is the eye of the sheep, which is given to the honored guest. He eats it. The poorest family, whether it is somewhere in Haridwar or whether it is in some part of a village in Nepal, shares their meal with him with great affection and great laughter and great joy. And that gives you so much of optimism about the human race, I can tell you, when you watch a film like this.
It's absolutely phenomenal.
Watch Walking the Himalayas on Discovery.
Now, one reason why I'm so interested in the Himalayas is, I must share with you that I've had the privilege and the opportunity of being on the Indian Everest expedition a long time ago, 1984. But it exposed me to the wonder and beauty of the mountain in a way that I have never forgotten to this date. The lessons that I learned on Mount Everest. Lessons not just of human endurance and fitness, because I was an amateur on Mount Everest. And this was the expedition on which the first woman from India and the 5th in the world, Bachendri Pal, climbed to the summit of Mount Everest. I was on that expedition. I was there. And she even gave me a stone from the summit of Everest, which I have preserved in my national award till today. It has been a great high point in my life. 40 years later, I can't forget that. Because after that expedition, I learned that if you have the determination and the will and the resilience, you can achieve anything. And I overcame my fear, because I felt this may be my last day in the life when I started walking up the ice fall to Mount Everest. And I survived it, and today I consider myself still a survivor from that day onwards. The difference between the Everest of that time and the Everest of today is technology. Things were very difficult in those times. I mean, bulky equipment had to be carried on the back of yaks. There was no communication worth the name. You had to look at satellite phones. You could not communicate immediately. And even food was difficult to eat the kind of food that you were able to preserve at heights, because it used to go bad. And then you had to depend on some dried rations which the army defense laboratories had actually innovated. This was the Indian Everest expedition of 1984. You can look it up. I made a film on it called Everest 84, which won the national award. In those days, the number of people who climbed to the summit of Everest were probably in single digits, but the number of people who died on the way to Everest were in double digits. So it was not as cool as it is today to go to these places. It was a daunting adventure with less technology, and then to survive that and climbing Everest was more climbing the obstacles in your own mind and clearing them than actually just climbing the mountain. And in those days, the view was conquering a mountain. Human beings were arrogant. They felt that they could conquer mountains. Today, you can't conquer a mountain. You can only pray to it. You can be grateful that it has allowed you to see into its inner depth of beauty and nature. We can see how you cannot conquer nature. Nature is all over us today, and we are actually faltering because we have not respected nature up to now. I remember, in terms of filmmaking, another film I would recommend to you alongside, if you have the time for it. It's called Riding Solo to the Top of the World. It's by a gentleman called Gaurav Jani, who actually took his motorcycle to the heights of Ladakh. Now, his feat is even more commendable because it was a single man. We are talking nearly 15 years ago. This is 2007, when actually I had the privilege as chairman of the documentary board to give the Best Film Award to this particular film by Gaurav Jani. There was no camera crew following him as they are following Levison Wood. He had to operate the camera himself. So he would park his bike somewhere, or he would put his camera somewhere, and then put it on, and then run to the bike, start the bike, and then go past the camera. Like this, it took him 70 days to chart this adventure. But then here again, he was close, in communion with nature and with the people. So some of his encounters with the Chanpas, the nomadic people of this cold desert, the Changthang desert at around 16,000 feet, it's incredible, because the warmth is not only of the blankets that they wrap around them, but is of the human personality and of their friendship and acceptance. And this is something that you realize, that when you're in the mountains, you are nobody. You are only your humanity, and your designation doesn't matter at all. Riding Solo to the Top of the World by Gaurav Jani. You can see it on his website, Dirt Track Productions. And while we're at it, talking about the Himalayas and that majestic peak of Mount Everest, here's a question for you. What was the name of Mount Everest before it was called what it is today? Mount Everest का असली नाम क्या था? Oh, please reply on the story itself, so that we can collate all the replies together, and perhaps in a few weeks from now we'll have another nice little session where we can award the answer of the week to one of our viewers. Thank you very much. Watch and subscribe to Siddharth Speaks for more interesting revelations and insights.